Hello, dear shining stars. A very warm welcome to your social science class with your teacher, Raj. And children, today we are going to start chapter number 1 of History, class 7. The chapter is the medieval period. क्या पढ़ेंगे आज हम medieval period के बारे में. And in this chapter, what we are going to read, geographical influence, terms used to describe the subcontinent. Subcontinent को describe करने के लिए जो terms use किए जाते हैं उनके बारे में पढ़ेंगे. Sources of information. What were the sources of different sources of information? The historians have divided history into 3 periods. अब historians ने history को कितने periods में divide किया है? 3 periods. And what are those? Ancient period, medieval period, and modern period. These are the 3 periods in which the history has been divided. The medieval period in India extended from the 8th to the 18th centuries CE. It is marked by distinct political, economic, and socio-cultural developments in the subcontinent. और इस टाइम पे 8th से 18th century के बीच में जितने भी पॉलिटिकल, इकोनॉमिक एंड सोशियो कल्चरल डेवलपमेंट्स हुए थे सब कॉन्टिनेंट में, दैट इज मेंशन्ड. द मेडिवल पीरियड इज डिवाइडेड इनटू 2 पीरियड्स. अब मेडिवल पीरियड कितने पीरियड्स में? मेडिवल पीरियड को भी 2 पीरियड्स में डिवाइड किया गया है. द अर्ली मेडिवल पीरियड, दैट्स 88th to 13th century CE, and the later medieval period 13th to 18th century CE. The later medieval period is subdivided into 2 phases. Again, अब देखिए medieval period को 2 parts में divide किया, 2 periods में divide किया गया है, early medieval और later medieval. Again, later medieval period को भी 2 phases में divide किया गया है, that is the Delhi Sultanate 1200 to 1526 CE and the Mughal period 1526 to mid 18th century. Towards the close of the ancient period, Harshvardhana was the most important ruler. Ancient period का जब end होने वाला था उस टाइम पे हर्षवर्धन जो थे वो सबसे important ruler. After his death in 647 AD, death कब हुई थी हर्षवर्धना की? 647 AD. Several small kingdoms came into being. और हर्षवर्धना की death के बाद बहुत सारे छोटे छोटे किंगडम्स निकल के आए. द मुस्लिम इन्वेजन्स began in the 8th century. मुस्लिम इन्वेजन कब स्टार्ट हुआ था? In the 8th century. During the 18th century, the British started to set themselves in India. और ब्रिटिश जो हैं वो उन्होंने अपने आप को खुद को कब से वहां पे इंडिया में एस्टैब्लिश करना स्टार्ट किया था? During the 18th century. And this brought about a major change in India. As the Britishers came to India, there was a major change seen in India. Many of our past historical events occurred well outside the boundaries of present-day India. और जितने भी historical events हुए थे, वो जो आजकल का जो इंडिया का बाउंड्री है उससे बाहर occur हुए. The medieval period extended right from Afghanistan in the west to Myanmar in the east. जो medieval period है वो कहाँ से कहाँ तक extend हुआ था? From Afghanistan in the west and Myanmar in the east, comprising the countries of, अब उसमें countries कौन कौन सी थी? Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, etc. Fine children, see India in the 8th century. This is the India in 8th century. 8th century में India ऐसा. The geographical influence. India comprises of 5 broad geographical divisions. अब 5 divisions हैं, geographical divisions जो इंडिया के हैं वो कितने हैं? 5. The Himalayas. Those divisions are the Himalayas, the Indo-Gangetic Plains, the Thar Desert, the Deccan Plateau, and the Peninsular Coast. During the medieval period, many wars were fought to control rivers and the fertile regions surrounding the river plains. अब medieval period में बहुत सारे wars भी हुए थे, किस लिए? Rivers और fertile regions को control करना. The western and the eastern coast developed after the discovery of gold and diamond. जब gold और diamond की discovery हुई तो western और eastern coast developed. Ports such as Surat, Cambay, Goa, Cochin and Masulipatinam attracted thousands of traders. ये सब ports थे और इन्होंने traders को attract किया. The Vindhya and the Satpura mountains checked the easy movements of the Turks and the Deccan and south. Beautiful and huge forts and monuments protected Rajasthan and parts of northern India. और जो बड़े बड़े forts थे और monuments थे उसने राजस्थान और उसके northern India के कुछ parts को protect किया. The shortage of water in Rajputana and Gujarat forced people to make the great Baulis. Baulis क्या होते हैं? Multi-staired wells. कुएं थे, उनमें stairs बने हुए थे, multi-staired wells थे. अब shortage of water ने राजपुताना और गुजरात में जो shortage of water था, उसने Baulis बनाने पे मजबूर किया लोगों. India's diversified physiography has enabled the development of a distinct past through the ages. Terms used to describe the subcontinent. अब इस subcontinent को describe करने के लिए कौन-कौन से terms use किए? Various names have been given to our country through the thousands of years in the history of India. अब Indian history में India को अलग-अलग नाम दिए गए. During the Vedic age, India was called Saptasindhu. ये Vedic age में India का नाम था Saptasindhu. और the land of 7 rivers. Sapt का मतलब 7 and Sindhu का मतलब rivers. The Persians called it as Hindustan, as they pronounce S as H. Okay? After coming of the Aryans, northern India came to be known as Aryabhat. अब जब Aryans आए तो northern India को किस नाम से बुलाया जाने लगा? आर्यव्रत कहा जाने लगा. India was also known as Bharatvarsh. The Arabians also called it as Hindustan. Arabians ने भी उसे किस नाम से बुलाया? हिंदुस्तान. The Greeks called it as Indica. Greeks called it as Indica. It is probably from Indica that subcontinent got its name India. अब Indica से ही ये India नाम है. All scholars have not used these terms in synonym sense. For some people, the term Hindustan signifies the areas of. अब कुछ लोग मानते हैं कि हिंदुस्तान जो टर्म है वो किस किस एरिया को सिग्निफाई करता है? पंजाब, हरियाणा and those lying between the rivers of the Ganga and the Yamuna. For some, this term means the culture of the people in the subcontinent of India. और कुछ लोगों का मानना है कि ये जो टर्म हिंदुस्तान है इसका मतलब होता है कि कल्चर जो था, लोगों का जो कल्चर था इन द सबकॉन्टिनेंट, उसको डिफाइन करता है हिंदुस्तान. Gradually it came to be associated with the political unit that India grew into. Some of the old names continue to exist even today. आज भी बहुत से पुराने नाम जो हैं इंडिया के वो एग्जिस्ट करते हैं, जैसे भारत और हिंदुस्तान. Now, sources of information. The sources of information can classify into archaeological sources and literary sources. जो sources of information है इनको 2 parts में classify किया जा सकता है, archaeological sources and literary sources. Let's read about the archaeological sources. The archaeological sources include buildings, paintings, coins, inscriptions. अब इन archaeological sources में क्या क्या चीजें आती हैं? Buildings, paintings, coins and inscriptions. Many buildings were constructed during the medieval period, such as अब medieval period में बहुत सारे buildings बनाए गए. उनमें से कौन-कौन से हैं? कुतुब मीनार and Red Fort in Delhi, then Buland Darwaza at Fatehpur Sikri near Agra, and Char Minar in Hyderabad. The inscriptions on buildings have helped in ascertaining dates of history. और इन ये जो buildings हैं, इन पे जो inscriptions हैं, उनसे dates का पता चलता है कि कब ये construct हुई. Similarly, inscriptions on coins, copper plates, rocks and pillars have helped to ascertain dates and historical developments. ऐसे ही coins, copper plates, rocks और pillars जो मिले हैं, उसमें जो inscriptions हैं, उससे भी dates के बारे में पता चला. See, बुलंद दरवाजा and कुतुब मीनार. And बुलंद दरवाजा is at Fatehpur Sikri and Qutub Minar is in Delhi. Fact to know. Archaeology is a specialized science dealing with the material remains of past civilizations. Now, archaeology किसे कहते हैं? Archaeology एक specialized science है जो कि deal करती है material remains, past civilization के material remains. The people who study such old material remains are called archaeologists. Now comes the literary sources. A lot of information can be derived from the literary sources, which comprises of biographies, autobiographies, chronicles, letters, records, poetry, travelogues, and other works. अब ये जो लिटरेरी सोर्सेज हैं जिनमें कि ये सब चीज़ें आती हैं, बायोग्राफी, ऑटोबायोग्राफी, पोइट्री, रिकॉर्ड्स, इनसे बहुत सारा इंफॉर्मेशन मिलता है. द कॉपीज ऑफ द वर्क्स वर मेड बाय हैंड. अब इनकी कॉपीज कैसे बनाई गई थी? हैंड रिटन है ये सब. द पीपल हु मेड कॉपीज फ्रॉम मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट्स वर कॉल्ड स्क्राइब्स. अब जिन्होंने भी मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट से इनकी कॉपीज बनाई, लिखी हैं, उन्हें कहा जाता है स्क्राइब्स. Some of the important biographies, autobiographies, chronicles and travelogues pertaining to the medieval period are as follows. अब ये कुछ biographies, autobiographies, travelogues जो हैं, इनके बारे में हम पढ़ें. Biographies and autobiographies. कौन-कौन से? Prithviraj Raso, written by Chand Bardari, describes the times and adventures of Prithviraj Chauhan, a ruler of Delhi. पृथ्वीराज चौहान जो कि दिल्ली के रूलर थे, उनके बारे में चंद बरदारी ने पृथ्वीराज रासो में लिखा है. Written now, next comes the Babarnama. First was the Prithviraj Raso, next is the Babarnama. Written, अब इसे किसने लिखा था? Written by the Mughal Emperor Babur about his times and rule. अपने रूल के बारे में, अपने बारे में बाबर ने बाबरनामा में लिखा. Humayunama, written by Gulbadan Begum, tells many things in detail about Humayun's reign. हुमायूं के टाइम पे क्या क्या हुआ था उसके बारे में गुलबदन बेगम ने हुमायूंनामा में लिखा है. अकबरनामा, written by Abul Fazl, describes the times during the Akbar's rule. और अकबर के रूल के बारे में अकबरनामा में अबुल फजल ने लिखा. These were some of the biographies and autobiographies. Now comes the chronicles. Chronicles tell about the rule of a ruler or rulers in detail. Chronicles में जो rulers ने rule किया है उसके बारे में mention होता है. तुगलकनामा, written by Amir Khusro, deals with the rule of the Tughlaqs. तुगलक्स के रूल के बारे में, किस तरह से उन्होंने रूल किया था उसके बारे में अमीर खुसरो ने तुगलकनामा में लिखा. He has also written the Khazanul Futul about the rules of खिलजीज. और खिलजीज के बारे में जो लिखा गया है, उनके रूल के बारे में, वो अमीर खुसरो ने खजानुल फुतूह में मेंशन किया. He has also mentioned different languages which were spoken in different parts of the country. और अलग अलग पार्ट्स में कंट्री के जो अलग अलग लैंग्वेजेस बोले जाते थे उसके बारे में भी इसमें मेंशन. सच एज सिंधी. अब वो लैंग्वेजेस कौन कौन से थे? सिंधी, लाहौरी, कश्मीरी, देन द्राविड़, तेलंगानी, गौरी, अवधी एंड हिंदवानी. नेक्स्ट इज तारीखी फिरिश्ता. Written by Farishta is a record of the rule of Delhi sultans under the 17th century. 17th century में जो दिल्ली के सुल्तान थे उनके बारे में फरिश्ता ने तारीखी फरिश्ता में लिखा. Next is the Rajat Ranjani. Rajat Ranjani is a famous book on the history of Kashmir written by Kalhana. कल्हाना ने रजत रंजनी लिखा था जिसमें कि कश्मीर की हिस्ट्री के बारे में मेंशन. So these are some of the chronicles. Now comes the travelogues. The travelogues are a major source of information during those times. Some of the important travelers who wrote their experiences. अब बहुत सारे travelers बाहर से आए थे इंडिया और उन्होंने अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस के बारे में लिखा था. अब वो कौन कौन थे travelers? अल-बरूनी, इब्न बतूता, मार्को पोलो, निकोलो, etc. These travelers have described India vividly. Fact to know, Marco Polo has been called the Prince of Medieval Travelers. Marco Polo को Prince of Medieval Travelers कहा जाता है. He is Marco. Okay. Marco Polo has written about a coconut tree which he saw for the first time in India. Marco Polo ने coconut tree के बारे में लिखा है जो उसने पहली बार इंडिया में देखा. It is as a tall building. अब किस तरह से मेंशन किया उसने कोकोनट ट्री को? He wrote, it is a tall building with no branches and leaves at the top, but having fruits as large as a human head. ने क्या कहा था कि ये इतना लंबा है जितने की लंबी लंबी बिल्डिंग्स होती हैं, बट इसमें ब्रांचेस नहीं है, and leaves with no branches and leaves at the top. ब्रांचेस नहीं होती इसकी लेकिन टॉप पे लीव्स है, बट हैविंग फ्रूट्स एज लार्ज एज अ ह्यूमन हेड. लेकिन उसमें जो फ्रूट लगता है वो एक ह्यूमन हेड के बराबर फ्रूट होता है. सो in this way he described a coconut tree which he first time saw in India. So children, in this chapter what important things we have read? Important facts. History is divided into 3 periods. हमने क्या पढ़ा कि हिस्ट्री को 3 पीरियड्स में डिवाइड किया गया है. एंड व्हाट आर दोस 3 पीरियड्स? द एंशिएंट पीरियड, मेडिवल पीरियड एंड द मॉडर्न पीरियड. फाइन. India during the medieval period comprised of a vast area ranging from Afghanistan in the west to Myanmar in the east. The names of places underwent a change during the medieval period with some exceptions. The sources of information are 2. कौन से sources of information है? Archaeological and literary. Archaeological sources include inscriptions on buildings, coins, rocks, pillars, etc. And the literary sources comprise of different types of books written by different people. Objective type questions. Take the right option. The 2 sources of information are dash and dash. What are the 2 sources of information? Literary, archaeological, none of these. So they are the literary and the archaeological source of information. Dash is the old name of India, continues to exist even today. कौन सा नाम जो ancient times में जो इंडिया को दिया गया था वो अभी भी exist करता है? भारत, काशी, both of these. Bharat is the old name of India which still continues. A or an is a story of a person written by himself. जो खुद से अपनी स्टोरी लिखता है वो क्या होता है? उसे क्या कहा जाता है? बायोग्राफी, ऑटोबायोग्राफी, none of these. Autobiography. Dash has written about a coconut tree. Marco Polo, फरिश्ता, कल्हाना. Who wrote about a coconut tree? अभी पढ़ा हमने. He was Marco Polo. He wrote about the coconut tree. So now children, let's do the matching here. Match the following. Medieval period. Medieval period कब से कब तक का था? Period between the 8th to the 18th century. So match here. Scribe. What is a scribe? A person who makes copies of books by hand. जो books की copies बनाता है, हाथ से लिखता है, उसे कहते हैं scribe. So we match it to this. Biography. The story. Biography क्या होती है? The story of a person. The person's life written by somebody else. जब कोई और लिखता है किसी के बारे में उसे कहते हैं biography. An autobiography, the story of a person's life written by himself. जो खुद लिखता है. Travelogue. Travelogue is a piece of writing about travels. And chronicle, a written record of events in the order in which they occurred. जिस order में वो events होते हैं, उस order में जो लिखा जाता है उसे कहते हैं chronicles. Next is write T for true and F for false. History has been divided into 4 periods. No, false. It has been divided into 3 periods. The name of our country in the ancient period was Bharat. Yes, true. The Muslim invasions began in the 9th century. This is also false. The people who made copies from manuscripts were called scribes. Yes, this is true. Right, T here. Prithviraj Raso was written by Chandra Bhandari. Yes, it was written by Chandra Bhandari. So this is true. So children, here we end our chapter and I hope you have understood the chapter. So stay tuned for the new video. Keep learning, stay happy, and we'll meet soon with a new chapter. Bye.